So I have the tripod up on my tool trolley to get a bit of height into it. I'm going to throw on my headlamp here. So I'm tapping out the inner outer race of the wheel bearing. There is a slot along the inside of the hub, and you can sit your drift on it. So one of these fell out, that's no problem, they only pull in anyway. I'll give it a tap. You can't really grip this in the vise because of the casting is a bit curved at the back, so it ends up being a bit unsteady. It's just a matter of tapping it side to side and it comes out. So that's our old outer race. This is our new bearing here. So let's make sure that they're the same before we open it. Into the A1. You can open that. Now, and it goes in from the back. So what I do here is I open up the vise wider. You're not hitting any of these. All these were replaced, so they just kind of gripped when they pulled in. That one's a bit loose, but it won't spin anyway. So I'm going to bring this to the parts washer now and give it a quick clean out. I managed to get the stud out. This is the nut that was on it. It's metric. I consulted me Imperial Ferguson nuts, and this is the one that's meant to go on it, but this nut is after damaging the threads. So I'll put it up on the tripod here, and what we do in this case is we get our 7/16 UNF die. The right side to start it. Sit it down nice and level. It should start to bite now in a minute. You just take your time to get it started, that's all. Because the proper nut wasn't actually even going on it, so. That's the proper Ferguson nut. This is my collection of Ferguson spring washers. Match one up. And the job is awesome now. There's a bit of damage on that there from the vise because that was on so tight that it actually was turning in the vise. So we'll just give it a quick flattening here again. Anywhere there's a bit of damage there, won't make any odds, but still it's no harder to do a good job. This takes a bit more time. Perfect. So now we have, so it's UNC thread going into the gearbox, that's coarse thread, and UNF fine thread. Now, so that's another little job being done. Low and below is loose as well, so I'm going to take him out and make sure that there's a spring washer on him. So with the one below, you have to use a spanner to get at him, and the same story there, the wrong nut is on it, so I'm going to have to go and take him out and get him into the vise. I know he's wrong is the originals are 11/16 imperial. This is a 19mm. And look how loose that is. 19mm metric. So out she comes, and get a look at what's going on there. You see threads are damaged. I'll do the same job, I'll retread it and I'll put on a nice original nut onto it, because that definitely is not good. Like, I mean, that's just going to add a lot of free play into your steering. The modification they used to do to these when they got worn from the ball end was they used to put a halfpenny or a copper halfpenny in there and tighten it up, and it wore into it and it took up the free play, because these actually wear very bad. So how is the threads looking there? So here is another original Ferguson nut. I was only using this as a lock nut, so I wasn't going to use it on this. If that doesn't go on, we'll have to hit it with the die as well. My God, I don't know. It wants to bite, so I'm going to go and get a better nut and just see will it thread onto it. Here's a better nut, proper UNF. Yeah, that one that was on, I took off as a metric. My God, completely different threads. When you actually look into the threads in that nut I took off, you actually see they're destroyed. So these have to be really tight, like. So I'm going to put grease on this as well, and I'm going to mod it. Do my little mod I mentioned there. I'm going to put I don't have, well, I'm not going to waste a halfpenny because they're collector's items nowadays. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a strip of metal I find does the same job. So that's going to make a big difference to the steering. It mightn't seem like it is, but I can tell you it is. So let's get a strip of metal and get some grease in this. So our grease. I'll put plenty of it in there, to be honest, because it's very easy to wipe it away. It's getting harder to strip it down to be able to put grease in it. So that's going to be perfect. Loads of grease. Line her back up. Strip of metal. Bend it in there. You want this standing out a bit proud, and then when you tighten it in, it should do its thing. I'll have a lock nut on the end of that, because I want the stud to go in all the way home first, and I'm just going to go and get a little spring washer for this nut. Spring washer on first nut, and then actually what I'll do is I'll put in the top one first, because I'm going to keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that stud going in. It squares out all the grease. No harm in the world. I'll have to get a second spanner. Will that hold it? No, I'll get a second spanner. Lovely. So that's that. We can put our nut on underneath here now. Nice to be bringing this back to original spec now, so it is. Because the first big bump you'd hit now, this will get very loose. And now we put that little bit of metal in there, like the lads used to do years ago. That'll take up any free play. That'll mean that this will be solid. Yeah, there you go. Okay, I'm happy with that. Because I left that last hole empty because it wouldn't line up with anything, I'm after putting this bracket. This bracket's actually off of Ferguson. It's actually off 35 as well. Where it's off is, well, there's another bolt missing. I'll have to give him a, have to replace that. It's that bracket there. It's good and strong. So at least now our air filter is held on by, it's by 4 bolts. One I drilled, one I had to manhandle a little bit to get it right, but it is good and solid now. That's what we want. So that's the kind of stuff we'll be doing. So, and I noticed that this side here is very loose. Them bolts are loose, and as you can see, one's missing. So plenty of other little jobs to do. The threads were so dirty that you just literally couldn't get a bolt in. So I'm just going to give them a clean out. There's some dirt and muck and rust coming out of it. So I'll cut new threads. That's coming up to the end, I think now. Feels like it's maybe hitting something. Now, there you go. So, I have a bolt picked out for it. So give that a dart of penetrating oil. Okay, this is the bolt. It doesn't need a washer because there's a tab washer on it. So that wasn't screwed in at all before. And now it's flying in. It's just one of them jobs you just need to have the tap for it. Nearly there. Lovely. The job is awesome. Should be able to pull this now out now that I have the oil range. So there's the seal, and if you see there, the spring is broken. Just there, the camera will focus. That's why she was leaking. So this is going to go into the parts washer. I'm going to take off that O-ring. I'm going to give this housing a good clean up, and I'm going to give in the back of the tractor there, the back, a good clean up as well, so that this O-ring will seal. So that came out surprisingly easy. I'd say that seal was done before, but as you can see there now, it's definitely broken. And what I use to tap out things of this is I just make up kind of a drift. Thick washer with strong washer, bolt, nut each side. Starting to come there. Put down a rag first so you don't go denting it. Your housing. This seal was put in backwards, that's why it was leaking as well. That's probably why the little spring broke on it. See, shouldn't be able to do that. So that is scrap. So this now can be cleaned up. Just get our pick. Pull off this O-ring. So there you go. It's fairly dirty in here now, in fairness. So all of that will get a good clean up. Give it a quick polish up with sandpaper. So the seal goes in nice and clean. Threads are good for a PTO cap. I have a new one of them ordered. They're perfect. So that should be an easy fix. Also have the brake rod here, because rather than soaking this in like fuel, I just every now and again give it a good brushing down. It's as good as soaking it. This parts washer was a good investment. At least now when I get in there and give it a good clean up, I've got the worst of the stuff off it. Well, that's A1. Grab it nice and softly there in the vise. Give it a quick polish up here. Harm to double wrapper there with your rag. Just don't want to go leaving any burrs on it. It's the only downside to your rag. Another quick one in the parts washer after this. That should be A1. Definitely out before, you can see someone was tapping it. Yeah. Last little bit there now to do. So it doesn't have to be 100% perfect in there, obviously, because the O-ring seals from the outside. But that said, we'll get it as good as we can. Yeah, there is a little bit, there's a showing up there on the little bit of light, kind of rust in there. So what I'll do is I'll get some sandpaper, fold it up and just give it a nice polishing up. Order a new one of these. I thought it might be salvageable, but there's too much rust in there, and it's pitted, and I had to file off a burr there as well, so it definitely, you can just see where I was filing. This wasn't sitting in flush. It came out very, very easy, too easy for my liking, considering the amount of oil that's behind it, and I just don't like the look of that pitting in there. So they're not expensive, so I prefer to err on the side of caution, to be honest. So I'll put that into the next order of parts.